Well. It seems like the market just continues to go crazy, and Mega Evolution, only a few days after being released, the booster box is already going up in price. So, in this video, we're going to be talking about that, and also we're going to be covering Destined Rivals shortly at the end. But I'm not extremely surprised that prices are going up. I'm more surprised of how fast it was. Literally a few days after release, it's already happening. I did tell you guys prior to this set being officially released that I wouldn't be surprised if this does the exact same thing as Destined Rivals. If you guys don't know what I mean by that reference, Destined Rivals, it took a couple of months, about 2 months before it really started going up. It was around 240 to 260 for like a whole month or so. And then it started to go, off a couple months later. And then now Destined Rivals is about 4 months old, and you guys know where it's at. So I said, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if Mega Evolution does the same thing. And like I said, it took Destined Rivals about a month before it even started really going anywhere. And Mega Evolution is literally not even out for a week, and prices are already moving up. So I'm more so surprised of the time frame it's happening, rather than it actually happening, because I'm not shocked. But it is worth noting we are getting another wave of product, so that is something to think about, because this is a waved release rather than Destined Rivals. So maybe this was predictable for some people that this would happen a week after release, but I'm sort of shocked by this, to be honest, that it's been this quick. But when you actually look into the data and you actually look at right now, right, at the current prices the cards are at, it sort of makes sense in terms of sealed product, right? I'm not agreeing with the prices like, oh, this is all the way it's supposed to be, but relative to the set value at this current time, and I'm not saying these singles are not going to drop in price. They most likely will in a few months. Most likely prices will drop, right? But at this current time, right now, the singles and the prices, and you look at the total set value, you can't really argue that it shouldn't. It doesn't make sense that it's going up, right? The total set value is $4,200. Now, I did cross-check with TCG Player. If you look at all of these market prices for all these cards, and you look at PokéData, which does a whole sum of all the total values, it's pretty accurate. Plus or minus $10, $15, but it's pretty accurate where it's at. $4,200. That's how much this set is worth in totality. Now, if you actually go and let's check Destined Rivals, you can see Destined Rivals, look how much cheaper it is. Obviously, cheaper is relative, but when you do the math, it's about what? Like $1,800 more expensive, maybe $1,700, whatever the math is, more expensive than Destined Rivals. Obviously, Destined Rivals is 4 months old compared to this set is not even a week old, so there's that difference. So Destined Rivals has withstood the time of being over that point of possibly singles dropping a ton, because usually it's like a few weeks to a month where you really start to see the direction of where the singles and prices are going. But the fact that Mega Evolution at this current time, right, I want to emphasize that the whole set is worth over $4,000 and Destined Rivals is under $2,500. It, like I said, relative to the sealed product, the price makes sense. So obviously, if prices go down for singles and we get more product and the hype starts to die off, which at this point it seems crazy to even say that, we'll maybe see sealed product go down. But relative right now during this current time, I guess it makes sense. Like, I don't want to make it seem like, oh yeah, this is all it's all great and stuff, but it makes sense. The math checks out in terms of the value inside of the set. Like I said, I'm not agreeing with it or saying that, yeah, this is completely normal, but if you just look at the facts, it makes sense. Now, moving on here, did I skip over this? Yeah, so I accidentally closed out of this page, but the enhanced booster box right now is going for $337. Market price is $340. You can see what happened just this one day. 258 boxes sold at $342. Now, if we actually move and go to the normal booster box, the non-enhanced one, this is where it's $350, and you can see exact same day, many sold. So was this a coordinated buyout? Because you can see literally the exact same day, they shoot up in sales volume literally on the same day. So Like, this could be coordinated. Who knows really what's going on? Because even a few days like here, you can see the sales volume was much lower. Then all of a sudden one day here it like doubles in sales volume. So who knows? Maybe it's a coordinated buyout. You can see even on this one, it's like a 4 times difference in sales volume. But yeah, prices have skyrocketed for the booster box all the way now, $337 for the enhanced one and $350 for the normal one. And yeah, we are very getting close to that $400 range. Now, like I mentioned, this is a waived release. I'm not exactly sure when this new wave of product is coming. Some people I think have said it's coming like a few weeks after the release. Some people have said differently. I don't have distribution. You guys can contact or watch videos of people who have distribution that have this information. I personally don't, but from what I've heard, people have said a couple weeks after release, a month after the release. But that's all I can tell you. I don't have distribution, so you guys can ask someone who does. But we'll see where prices end up by the time more product comes out. I think it's 40% of product. It's like 60% was initial release, and was it 40% after, something like that. It's either that way or the other way around. But I think it's 40%. The rest of the I guess release is the second wave or whatever. So we'll see what that does to prices. But if singles prices don't drop much at all by the time we get more product, I would suspect, let's say theoretically, by the time we get more product and it hits people's I guess not shelves, but people actually have in hand, I wouldn't okay, let's say theoretically it's $400. I'm not saying that's gonna happen, okay, because that's ridiculous. Let's say in a week from now it's 400. I don't know if it's gonna happen. If it's $400 and card prices are the same as right now, set value still like $4,000, at 400 I could see it going down to probably where it's at right now. I think if this, right, you see here is 337 and it goes to 400. If we get more product, I could see it go down to this price, but I honestly don't think it'd go lower than 300. Just based on how everything is right now, I highly doubt it's going to go below 300. We might even, if it hits 400, you might just get lucky to get it at 350. But this is why I told you guys, even though I didn't buy anything, I told you guys specifically why. I'd rather just buy Phantasmal Flames. I told you guys, when this booster box, when you could have bought it for $250, because I even shared a deal from Forge and Fire. You had a case where you could have bought a case for each booster box. It was $250. Hopefully, if you guys bought or wanted to buy it, hopefully you guys bought from that because it was a good deal. I told you guys, even if you didn't want to buy that, buying a few boxes, just like I did for Destined Rivals, would not be a bad play, because I told you it would not shock me if this skyrockets to 400 at some point in the near future. And it looks like it's probably going to happen. Obviously, we're going to have to see how this, next wave of product, what it does to the market and where prices are when it happens. But I told you guys, if you are not sure about the prices, buy a few boxes. It's not going to hurt. And hopefully, if you guys were skeptical about prices, maybe took a little bit of action, maybe found some deals, maybe bought them for 250, 260, 270, because it just looks how it's going. I just highly doubt really whatever happens that booster boxes from this next release of product is going to drop below $300. It just doesn't seem highly likely. Now, if you go on eBay, you can find cases, which I skipped over this. Cases right now are going for $21.60. You can see most recent sold was also $21.60. But if you go on eBay, you can actually buy them for a bit cheaper. You can buy them for $2,085, which I'll do the math here. $2,085 divided by 6. That is $348 rounded up. So you're basically paying just market price for each booster box, but you're getting a case. There's a few people here that have booster boxes for lower 300s. So if you would rather buy from these people and just get an individual box, you can. But if you want a case, it's cheaper on eBay. So moving on from Mega Evolution, let's just go to Destined Rivals here real quick. So Destined Rivals in the past week has gone down a little bit. It peaked at $500, and then one point, lowest listed was $700. But since then, in the past week, it slowed down a bit. You can see prices now. Well, market price is $416, but it's now going back up a little bit. You can see here now it's at $440. So Destined Rivals, it looked like it was going to the moon, but it saw a little bit of pullback. I mean, this happens a lot with buyouts and things like that. When things skyrocket, prices will, after the fact, they usually will drop a little bit. It's not uncommon. They'll see some drawback. We see that with Sword and Shield. When the Sword and Shield market was crazy for a week, prices skyrocket. The next following months or weeks, they usually pull back. That's exactly what's happened to Destined. It's not something like, oh, is it going to crash now? This is normal for the market. If something skyrockets like this, it's normal to see some pullback, more people list to capture profits, and then it'll eventually probably continue to go back up, unless we get more product and more supply. So no, this is not a thing like, oh, here it is, this is the bottom, or it's gonna go further to the, like, this is not the bottom yet. No, it's not. This is like, we're getting to the point where now it seems like things are starting to rebound back from the pullback. But this is completely normal. This is not all that things are crashing. Like I said, unless we get more supply, this price, it seems like it's already stabilized, and hit a bottom. It's gonna go up. It's already going back up. So this was normal, but it has been going down a little bit. Now, if you want to buy a case, you can buy a case for $2,800. Now, if you do the math on that, it is $466. So when you compare it to the loose booster box, it's not really that different. Like, you're paying $10, $20 more per booster box, which is like 5%, so it's not really much more. So if you want a case, like, I'm not recommending buying at this price point, obviously, but if you want to buy, you're not paying much more. So if you want to buy a case, a quantity, you can get a sealed case for basically the same price. Now, one thing to note, I saw with Destined Rivals, at least on eBay, this is something worth noting about the supply with this. There's no huge sellers selling Destined Rivals right now. Cases, sealed booster boxes, they're all smaller individual sellers. You can see here, none of these are big sellers. All of these are more individual sellers. So that is worth noting, which in my opinion means a lot of these sellers are probably holding back product. They're probably keeping some for themselves, because most of these people, they don't sell all of their product in the first, like, initial release. They just don't. But there's no big sellers here, which gives me a signal that they don't want to sell, right? Because none of these people sell every single box. I mean, at this point in the market, I don't think they're, naive or ignorant enough to know that, okay, it's probably going to go up a little bit. I'm going to probably sell some on the initial release and sell some later. They're probably holding back, maybe, because they see where things are going. But it is worth noting, because that means there's not that much supply out there, because if they had an abundance of this stuff, they would probably have it listed. So yeah, they just all sold out of whatever stock they put on eBay, and it's all individual sellers now. So just wanted to do an overview here of Destined Rivals and Mega Evolution. It truly seems like, the market is just going to continue to be strong. If a base set can do this and skyrocket less than a week after, just imagine what all these coming sets are going to do that may be better than Mega Evolution, because this is a base set. What is going to happen to all these future sets? Guys, I really wish I could say this market would see a cooldown soon, because trust me, I wish it would happen. I'm completely satisfied with the gains I've seen with Sword and Shield, with my other stuff. I'd like to buy product for cheap. It's just not the way it seems it's going to happen, at least in the near future, and it's just the market we're in. Who knows when things will cool down. I remember when people were saying we're due for a crash, and people are still saying it, but when you really look at the facts, it just doesn't seem like things are going to slow down, at least for now. So that's all I want to talk about in this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.